All right. Welcome to Zenkaikon 2021. This is the Hidden Gems of Manga panel. I'm Brand. Our other host is CJ.
Hello.
We're on Twitter at BrandChan and Zawa113CJ. This is part of a club on My Anime List, if you're familiar with My Anime List. But you don't have to be familiar with our club. So, but we did use some guidelines to get titles that people were probably not familiar with to get hidden gems. So our guidelines were that we used My Anime List for numbers. A title had to have less than 20,000 members and at least a rating of 7.0 out of 10.
I'd say most choices probably have less than 10,000 members.
A lot of these titles probably do. So my first pick was Kashimashi Girl Meets Girl. This is a like a girl love title written by Satori Akihori and illustrated by Yukimari Katsura. This one's a mix of silly sci-fi comedy and romantic drama. Hazumu has always been a gentle soul, but his life is turned upside down one day after worked up enough courage to confess to his friend Yasuna. She rejects him. Hazumu runs away and is promptly killed by a spaceship crashing into him. Thankfully, the aliens can resurrect him. Only when they fix him, he comes back as a she. Not that Hazumu really minds, but can she deal with the love triangle that happens between her, Yasuna, and Tomori? Can she deal with the fact that her best friend now also seems to have the hots for her now? This manga is a clash of tones, but somehow it works. The more serious romance taking over as it goes on. What's nice about this one is you've watched the anime, the manga has a different ending, and the anime is being re-released by Discotek on Blu-ray recently. So you can check out the manga and the anime, which is really cool.
All right, so my first one is Wake Up Sleeping Beauty. Kodansha put this out as a 6-volume series. So this high schooler, Tetsu, he starts working in a mysterious manner as a housekeeper, and he quickly learns that the daughter is frail and sickly, and he should have no contact with her. Obviously, they make contact pretty quickly, and she seems pretty normal, not at all frail or sickly. And then he professes his love to her, but then she tells him that no, she does have a mysterious illness, and she only vaguely remembers Tetsu. So the rest of it is Tetsu figuring out what exactly her illness is, which he does figure out fairly. They do reveal it pretty quickly, but I can't really spoil anything because it's part of a plot and it's such a short series. But it's a shoujo with a good mystery element to it to go along with its character development. And it's only 6 volumes and it's still in print, so definitely pick this one up.
So this next one, occasionally we just have to do our favorite author. So one of my favorite authors is SM. Mostly has done boy love and yaoi works, but has recently gotten into doing more josei and seinen works. Many of her titles have been licensed either through DMG. I think a few might have been through another company too.
Sublime has a couple.
Sublime, okay. A lot of her titles have a heavy Spanish influence. There's a lot of titles about bullfighters, Spanish dancing, soccer that takes place in Spain. But generally her titles tend to be very serious and have a lot of drama on top of being adult titles. And have a very detailed and unique art style that is particularly different from a lot of other yaoi and boy love titles. Generally also, featuring all adult male characters. Nobody's kind of a teenager or like looks like kind of a teenager. Everyone looks like an adult in her titles. Again, getting into some other works. She's also written a couple of different works about being a
Salaryman centaurs.
A centaur, yes. That's apparently a thing. I don't know what that is with Japan now and the centaur stuff, but that's a thing. But definitely check out some of her work if that's a thing that you're into. You won't be disappointed.
Okay, so I did Swan. It's a classic 70s shoujo. It has those 70s shoujo eyes, and my god, the art spreads are just gorgeous. But Masumi Hijiri is a teenage ballet student, and she suddenly finds herself surrounded by the best ballet dancers in the world, basically. So you got the 70s passion of shoujo, the 70s romance and the angst. If you've never experienced it, like Swan is, of course, an amazing choice, but there's also Dear Brother and Rose of Versailles, different author. But those are being published, or the anime is coming out for them right now. Unfortunately, CMX only published 15 out of 21 volumes of Swan. It's like she grows. It's like the series is good about keeping things interesting the whole time, both with the dance and also with her changing relationships with the other dancers. And like she doesn't actually stick with the same guy the whole time, which is pretty unusual in manga, it seems. Yep, I love my 70s shoujo.
Yeah, I definitely think that 70s shoujo definitely has a very specific taste to it that is different from all the rest of shoujo manga. So always like to include something that is 70s shoujo. In Hikine-kun no Koi, the mangaka for this is Haruku Kawashi. I should know that name by now. This is one you can find around online, but probably sadly is never going to get really licensed. This was mostly published by a website called J Manga back in the day. So everyone might think wow, I keep getting hung up on this. Skikini is a hunk with hot looks, but you try to talk to him and it's like hitting a brick wall. He comes off as stoic and cold, but it's mostly that he's passive and unsure what to do. And at this point in his life, nothing seems to interest him at all. Until finally one day he meets a couple of odd shop owners in the local shopping arcade that might change things for him. An old man convinces him to take magic lessons, and he meets a cute young woman who runs the yarn store. So he learns magic tricks and how to knit, and slowly learn some life lessons on learning interests and opening yourself up to others. This is a really cute manga. Again, you can find it around. It's not real long. I think it's 5 or 6 volumes. It's a very cute, sweet story. Definitely worth checking out.
All right, so Ikigami. So it's a dystopian future, and every citizen in elementary school receives an injection. God, I hate to make this sound political, but it is a vaccine injection, and a very, very small percentage of them contain a capsule that will rupture your aorta between the ages of 18 and 24, and it's made so that one person in the country dies every day. It's supposed to make people appreciate life more or some nonsense.
Pretty battle royale-esque.
No, not quite. I mean, they get this notice 24 hours before they're supposed to die, and the main character on the cover basically delivers all the Ikigami notices, and then you see how people react when they know that they're going to die in 24 hours. Are they gonna like act like everything's normal? Are they going to commit massive crimes even though their families will suffer for it and they won't be given any compensation? Are they just gonna do one final massive act of kindness? Yeah, if you're looking for some 1984 vibes with like the Big Brother is watching everything, because they'll also put these capsules onto criminals and stuff. I guess kind of mix the numbers up, I guess. But each volume has 2 different people's journeys in it, and kind of culminating with what they do in the end. And meanwhile, the main character's starting to question a little, is this like an okay thing to do? And they're the only country in the whole world that does this. And everyone is like, no one likes it, but they also know that if they speak out that they could, they could kind of be semi-killed for it. So I guess it's my current thing that I think is the most like 1984.
Okay, that's pretty cool. All right, so this is from Mari Yamazaki. This is probably my current favorite, really dumb, funny title. Like, this is just so stupid.
Oh, yes.
The basic is that an ancient Roman architect, Lucius, needs some idea for a new bathhouse, but hits a wall when coming up with new ideas. Through a near drowning accident, he discovers a hidden tunnel underneath the spa that leads him into modern Japanese bathhouse, which gives him the inspiration to finish his work. Rinse and repeat. This happens to him multiple times where he needs some sort of idea, ends up going through the time portal spa bathhouse, and ends up in modern Japan where he gets some sort of idea that he can use in ancient Rome, like selling knickknacks and statues.
Refreshing milk after a bath.
Yes.
Murals of jellyfish.
Yeah.
Oh, and then anime for it as well. It's on Crunchyroll.
Yes, this is another one that also has a release from Discotek too.
And they have the new dub for it, which is hilarious.
Yes. So yes, this is a one-note joke manga, but that one joke works really well. I think this is pretty hilarious. The manga has been completely released in English. You should be able to find it pretty easily. It's a good time, and will make you want to go take a bath.
Makes me jealous that we don't have those in America, the public.
Yes.
So anyway, Kurosaki Corpse Delivery Service. So it's a group of college students, and their quote unquote job is to help the deceased fulfill their final wishes so that they can move on. So our main cast has the guy who can talk to the deceased, an obviously useful skill, and then some other skills that vary in usefulness. The hacking is actually pretty useful. The embalmer doesn't get to do a whole lot because no one in Japan is really embalmed. We don't know if the dowsing and the channeling even work, but they find the bodies. The thing is that it is definitely a dark comedy all the time. It's like, yeah, some chapters can be serious, and then other chapters, a bunch of anime fans have died, and we're debating if real robots, super robots, or like Astro Boy robots are the best ones, and they're still doing this even though they're dead, and the main characters are trying to sort this out while not getting killed by mecha that they've made. So it goes all over the place with if it's going to be realistic or not realistic, but it's always fun. The thing is, Dark Horse was supposed to reprint this and then print Omnibus 5+, and they haven't, and they're blaming COVID, but we know it's because they're Dark Horse and they don't want to.
Well, you know. All right. History. This is from Hitoshi Iwaka. This is the same author who brought you Parasite. So if you are familiar with Parasite faces, there's a lot of the same faces. But in this case, this is one of his many historical works. Parasite's actually one of the weird outliers in his works. A lot of his works are historical. History tells the life and stories of Eumenes, the secretary in general to Alexander the Great. But this starts out long before he actually meets Alexander, and it starts out with Alexander being a young teen. If you like something like the maneuvering and drama that was the part of Game of Thrones, then this might be interesting, because Eumenes has to come up from being a slave into dealing with all of these royals who were backstabbing each other and learning military strategy. This title comes out at a really glacial place, though. There's only 11 volumes since 2003.
Faster and slower than Berserk.
Yes. Though I think its hiatuses are slightly shorter than Berserk's hiatuses. Often the art is redrawn in great detail for the trade release. So there's a big difference between the art in the magazine release, which is often just pencil sketch, to the great detail that is in the trade paperback release for these titles. But it is a really good title. If you liked Parasite, you'll probably like this too. Again, totally worth checking out.
All right, so Dementia 21. If you haven't read Kago, I actually had trouble finding like safe panels for this. But Yukie is a home caregiver, and each chapter follows her in home caregiving. Don't think this is just going to be your standard heartwarming stuff. It's always dark and surreal comedy, and the chapters don't always make a ton of sense, but boy, if it doesn't run with it. Just strange things are constantly happening to this poor girl. Sometimes it might just be a basic hygiene issue, except instead of being one elderly person, it'll suddenly be like 5,000 of them in a room for no apparent reason. Or like this poor guy is having trouble because every single year his grandkids shake him down for what was it, New Year's money, and he has over 100 grandkids. So his solution, when she offers to help, his first thing is kill them, my grandkids, as many as you can, on that bottom right panel or bottom left panel. But yeah, all his stuff is really surreal. This isn't his only work in English, but like Super Dimensional Love Gun, Faku published that originally. Now Dempa has it, so I wasn't going to pull any panels from that one. But if you do like Junji Ito, but want maybe something more on the surreal side than the necessarily completely horror side, you should definitely
the grosser side.
Yeah. Yeah, although like this is kind of gross in a different way.
Yeah, but I'm talking about a lot of his other works too.
Oh yeah, because Super Dimensional Love Gun, I was like, this is like Junji Ito if someone wanted more really random fetishes with it.
Yes.
Yeah, and just all this stuff is so weird, but it's you just kind of have to roll with it and know that you're not getting into something with a whole lot of sense to it.
Yeah, but I will say this, I kind of sometimes this stuff is just weird and sometimes it's just genius. When it works, it really works.
Yep.
Okay, Goku-sen. This is from Koziko Morimoto. So this one is Komiko has wanted nothing else to do in her life than be a teacher. There's only a few problems with that. Her class is full of delinquents, and she's the daughter of a Yakuza family. Now she needs to teach these boys math, science, and life lessons without anyone finding out her Yakuza connections. Hijinks, comedy, martial arts, and romance ensue as Kumiko does her best to be the world's best teacher to these boys. I want to almost say this is sort of like a reverse GTO with a female teacher, but she's definitely a lot less crude than Onizuka is. This is a lot of fun. This is a title that has, again, it's floating around out there. It has a full English release out there, and an anime. The anime ends about halfway through the manga. There's a ton of live action drama for this. This is a real fun title. She's a cool, badass character, but she's constantly trying to hide it from her students. But it definitely leaks out a little into everything she does. Like the middle panel, they're like trying to throw a pachinko ball at her and she manages to catch it. And then she has to fake it that she was like, oh, what happened? I didn't just catch this. And originally, like, she shows up to school in a dress and they're like, you can't wear a dress to the school of all delinquents. You're going to have to wear like this gym uniform so they don't harass you, and wear these sneakers so you can chase these boys around because they're going to be a hassle. So yeah, this is a fun one. If you are into delinquents and stuff, this is a lot of a fun title to read. Definitely worth checking out. It is also really cute romance too. So. All
right, so My Boy, I thought this would be a lot creepier based on the title as well. But Satoko is an office worker, and one day she finds this young boy, Mashu, and he's practicing soccer in a nearby park by himself. So, she kind of helps him and ends up forming a bond with him. But she also learns that his parents are pretty absent. They're not abusive. They're just really absent, and they definitely seem to favor the other sibling and just kind of ignore him. Yeah, fortunately, this does not go a romance route, thank God, but it's just legit person-to-person bonding. It's like Mashu really needs an adult figure in his life who actually cares about him, and she kind of ends up filling that role. It's like I wasn't quite expected to be a heartfelt drama. Like I thought the title would make it a little more creepy, but Vertical is publishing this. I think the series just ended in Japan with 9 volumes or so. But yeah,
So it's a touching drama.
yeah.
All right. So I have Meteor Methuselah. This was originally published in English as Immortal Rain by Tokyo Pop. They published maybe like half of it.
I think 8 volumes.
This is by Kaori Ozaki, from who also wrote The God's Lie.
And
Rain
Golden
Jewel-
Sheep, I think.
Huh?
Vertical put out Golden Sheep by her.
Yeah. Rain Jewel, also known as the Methuselah, is a spaced out immortal 624-year-old man dressed up in priest's clothing. He has eternal youth and a large price on his head, put there by those questing after the secret of his immortality. Michika is a tomboyish, energetic 14-year-old girl who, upon the death of her grandfather, sets out to kill Methuselah, the one bounty her assassin grandfather, Zol the Grim Reaper, couldn't kill. Instead, however, Michika ends up saved by Rain again and again from other aspiring bounty hunters attacking them both, growing into some kind of like friendship. And slowly they learn, where Rain came from and his background. And I would say this is, I don't want to say it's too similar to Trigun because it's different, but there is definitely a very Trigun-esque feel to this one. If that's something you liked, I would definitely say check this one out. This is definitely another one where like the art definitely gets better over time too. Definitely worth checking out. There's a lot of good heart and feel to this series, kind of like story that starts out kind of goofy and gets into like a serious sci-fi by the end.
All right, so Delicious in Dungeon. So Yam Press put this out, and I actually have a Delicious in Dungeon chopstick. Like they gave out little chopstick things at Otakon a few years ago for it. I still have that. So there's a group of adventurers, and they're going into the dungeon, but their healer has been eaten by a monster. If they can get her remains back, they can revive her, but they don't have any money for supplies. Half the group immediately disbands because they don't want to deal with this. And the problem is like the healer is the lead sister. They can't just not get her. So he comes up with a solution. We could save a lot of money by just eating the dungeon creatures. Not everyone's on board with this, but they go back in, and they're shortly joined by this dwarf warrior who was like, oh, cooking monsters, I've been doing that for a while, I'm going to join you guys on this. So basically I was expecting yet another cooking manga, and food is certainly involved, but really how the characters react to every little thing, it has such good world building wrapped up with its food. Like the elf, never into eating stuff, definitely eats stuff anyway because she has to not die. And sometimes she's like, hey, this is pretty good. The lead character quickly goes to seeing a monster and going, God, I wonder how that would taste. Well, there's one way to find out. And then even things like how they prepare food is world building. Like if it's easier to cut a mushroom this way in order to cook it up to eat it, and that's exactly how you defeat the enemy as well. That's the easiest way to kill the enemy. So
yeah, I definitely liked in the one part where the little kid guy, like they fight mermen, and the lead guy's like, oh well, we can eat the mermen, and he's like, nah, that's they're too close to looking like real people, we can't eat mermen. And he's like, well, how about the seaweed that grows on the mermen? And the kid's like
maybe.
Yeah,
but there's like an actual plot to this. It's not just going around the dungeon never rescuing the sister. Like they get the sister back pretty fairly early on, but now they just kind of want to kill and eat the dungeon creatures because they want to, especially the lead guy and the dwarf warrior. And God, I can't possibly tell you how accurate their cooking tips are, but yeah, I love that elf girl's face because she does not really want to be part of this and is clearly forced into this. Yeah, everyone's reactions are so much fun.
All right. So then we have My Brother's Husband from Gengoro Tagame. So if you're familiar with his other works, this is a huge departure for them. This story is a story of Yachi, a single father living with his daughter Kana, when he's visited by a man known as Mike Flanagan, who's the widower of Yachi's estranged twin brother Ryoji. Kana is instantly taken with Mike, but I got names wrong. Yachi is still dealing with his own internalized homophobia, but dealing with Mike and talking about his discomfort with Ryoji being gay is what drove the wedge between him and his brother. Yachi learns a life lesson. So this is like a really touching, sweet manga, nice slice of life. There is an actual live action series with an actual like Canadian dude playing Mike in this. This won an Eisner Award. In the US, it's got released as 2 volumes.
Well, they re-released it as an omnibus as well, but I think that's paperback.
So yeah, I definitely, if you want to read a nice, touching story about like coming to terms with your own homophobia and, you know, dealing with, you know, your feelings about your friends and your family and kinds of things about that, and like how children deal with like, you know, it's okay, you're gay, that's fine.
Yeah, the thing is, I think it should also be noted that Gengoro Tagame is an openly gay manga artist.
Yes.
Most of his stuff is bara, which is
yes.
Yeah,
gay,
how to describe bara?
Yeah, gay male written gay manga written by men for men. That would be it. But most of his stuff is very
not family
heavy, let's put it that way.
Not safe for work.
Well, not just on not safe for work. I've read a lot of bara. Some of it can be pretty cute. His stuff, not cute. Let's put it that way.
Nice to see. I mean, he's drawing what he wants, but yeah, like
this is actually pretty cute.
Yeah, it's nice to see that he made like a fully like family-friendly title.
Yes.
It's also nice to get actual gay representation from a gay man.
Yes.
All right, so Sand Chronicles. So this follows Anne and her parents divorce, and she moves from Tokyo to the rural country. So various changes happen in her life. Of course, she makes new friends there. You know, falls in love with the one boy. But a lot of time skips happen, so it's not just a pretty straightforward, oh, they meet, they date, and they're happy until college. It's like this follows her from childhood, like up past college, and how her relationships change, and she kind of drifts from her boyfriend as it goes on, and maybe they'll drift back together. But not a whole lot of shoujo like romance tend to have time gaps this frequently through them. I'd say there's probably a time gap maybe every 3/4 to 1 volume worth. Yeah, it's not just her changes with her friends, but you know, some other things happen that are kind of more in the spoiler territory, so I'm not really going to address them. Yeah, I can't really think of many other shoujo romance that kind of do this sort of thing, so I found that really interesting. And it's just a really solid title as well. Viz put this out, but it's out of print, of course. You might still be able to track it down, but...
So, Majin Tante, Noragami Noro. So, this is from Yusei Matsui. This author's other title is probably a lot more famous. It's Assassination Classroom. This is the title he did before Assassination Classroom. If you liked Assassination Classroom, there's a chance you'll probably like this too. Though the art in this is going to be a lot more rough. You could definitely tell he's learning to draw in this. The art from, like, I think this is like 23 volumes. So the volume from the art in volume 1 to volume 23, you could definitely tell a very strong difference. Also, surprisingly, in a series where this one's about detectives and one's about assassins, the one about detectives is a lot more gory than the one about assassins. So Noro is a demon with a raging hunger for enigmas. He comes to the human world to feed on his ever-growing hunger when a murder case wraps him up with a high school student named Miyako. Together, they start solving cases, but start getting wrapped up in a much larger, more gruesome mystery than anyone could imagine. So yeah, like this starts out pretty small. They just start out, you know, doing normal, like one-off detective cases, and then slowly a larger and larger and larger mystery gets wrapped up in this. There's an anime for this that gets its own original ending and ends up like halfway through the manga, which actually Viz released in the States through Hulu at one point, with no fanfare. I don't think anybody but like myself watched it on Hulu. But this whole manga is out there. You can read it out there, you know, out there. I definitely recommend reading the manga for this one. This goes places that I don't think I ever expected this to go. This also has a lot of weird, wacky stuff in it. There's some good goofiness in it. This is the one where like the bad guy and one of them's like an American dude whose nose goes gigantic and then pulls out a giant revolver in it. But there's also a lot of serious stuff in it. If you liked like the stuff in Assassination Classroom with the principal, particularly where you know, he's kind of demented, that's the kind of stuff that's in here, but probably even to a higher degree. Again, definitely check this out. There's a lot of fun in this one.
All right, so Hyundai, going for another author here. If you notice the top middle panel, and you've probably seen this cover because it's memed pretty hard over the past couple weeks, but that's from Go For It Nakamura by Hyundai. So right now they have two series in English, Go For It Nakamura, which is the meme cover, and Total Eclipse of the Eternal Heart, and they could not be more different tones. They are both BL, but neither is like explicit with anything. So Go For It Nakamura is this cute little romance story about a gay boy and his crush on his classmate. He also has a pet octopus. It's fairly straightforward, but it's just kind of just done perfectly, so it's really charming. And then on the other side, you got Total Eclipse of the Eternal Heart, which is the dark mystery. High schoolers having this recurring dream where there's a young boy dying at the hands of his sensei, and then also meanwhile an attractive student suddenly comes into his life, and he definitely starts falling for him. It's only one volume long, but I have to kind of avoid plot details because it's only one volume and it's a mystery. But then the other thing you got to note is just Hyundai's art is just going for that 90s aesthetic perfectly. They're so good. I really hope Seven Seas gets more of their work because I've read, I think, Amba Obachi, which was about a boy falling in love with one of those Chinese hopping vampire doll things. That one was also really weird. It's nice because I can never tell where they're gonna go, but I am so glad that cover has memed because it's so good.
Good. Yes, I have also seen it a ton on Twitter this week, so that is a fun one. All right. So our next one is Skullface Bookseller Honda-san. So this one had an anime a couple years ago.
It's on Crunchyroll right now.
Yes. So this one, special Yaoi book. Did you ever want to know the lives of bookstore clerks? No? Well, you're going to find out anyway, and it is hilarious. Read along as Honda deals with over-enthusiastic customers, a dad whose daughter asks him to buy yaoi dojin, BL lovers with very particular tastes. Find out just how heavy all those books are, and how to find how the bookstores deal with publishers to get your favorite titles in. A great title if you want a little extra info on manga publishing industry in Japan, and a comedy goldmine relatable to anyone who's worked in retail. So yeah, there is a short anime. It's short a short number of episodes, but it's also like a 10-minute long episode anime that goes along with this. It's like the first couple of volumes. This is only 4 volumes long. All of it's been published by Yen Press. Definitely check it out.
I just like how everyone has all the employees have different masks and faces. It is clearly just to protect everyone's identity. So
yes, they're even commenting to the book that like someone thought this was going to be like one of those in another world titles, but it's really just like, you know,
protect the
normal
identity
people
of
at a
those
bookstore.
involved.
Well, yeah, it's just a lot of the, especially the customer interaction ones are the best. So yeah, definitely check this out if you, and it is very much relatable to anybody who's done retail work, dealing with customers and dealing with customer requests. But it's extra funny when the request is an 18+ doujin book from some guy's daughter.
Who's visiting on top of it, I think.
Yeah, from like France or something. So yeah, definitely check it out. It's a fun title. Again, all 4 volumes are published from Yen Press. Good.
Oh, and I also like how, at least in the anime, it's obviously working a book off, but they never say it. But like you'll see it.
I don't think it's a book off because it's like a new bookstore, and a book off is a used bookstore.
Yeah, well, but then they'll have a lot of titles of things that you know that it's Naruto, but they're not going to actually say it. It's like,
yes, they like bleep out one of the letters in it. Yeah, it's a good time. All right, Shadow's House. This is from a duo known as Satamoto. Faithless shadow nobles living in a vast mansion attended by living dolls who spend much of their time cleaning up the soot endlessly emitted by their mysterious masters. Follow the story of Emily-ko, a young and cheerful living doll, as she learns the duties serving as the attendant for Kate Shadow-sama. What dangers and dark secrets will she and Kate encounter as they become more deeply involved in the inner workings of the Shadow Society? This is a full-color work of supernatural gothic mystery. And actually, as I was looking this up, I learned that an anime adaptation is happening starting next month. I'm very excited. I really like this title. I was actually going to do the author's other title, Koro, which is another like gothic mystery that's sort of about a cat, but not. But I picked this one because an anime is coming out about it next month. This is like I think a Pivx title, which is why it's full color. It's an online comic. The art in this is always outstanding. It's got creepy tension throughout all of it. It definitely has the gothic down. It is, and even though these are young girls, this is not like a Lolita thing. This is definitely more of a like gothic movie type of gothic. So yeah, if you like that kind of dark, creepy gothic mansion feeling, this definitely has it. Definitely worth checking out. Beautiful color art, awesome. Hopefully, with an anime coming out, this probably see an English, hopefully see an English release. So definitely an awesome title, beautiful art, and a creepy mystery to go along with it.
Okay, so NG Life. This is by Mizuho Kusanagi, and this was a series that she made before Yona of the Dawn. So in this one, our main character, Saiki, he's a reincarnation of a warrior from Pompeii. I don't think it's really spoilers much to say that he dies exactly how you think he does. He dies during the volcano eruption. And now he's in modern day Japan. So his former male best friend is now a female schoolmate, and then his former fiance is now a boy who just moved in next door to him. And he seems to have trouble separating the past from the present. So the first volume is a little more on the tame side, but as more characters are added, they're pretty much added in both the past and the present, and it basically changes the entire group dynamic as it goes, and it actually makes it more interesting as the series goes on. So the question for him is like, is he going to let go of this Pompeii thing and live in the present? Because not all the characters have memories of their past life. All the ones who do can instantly recognize each other for whatever reason. I'm not really sure why. It's just a thing that happens. But now like he's still best friends with his former best friend, but she's a girl now, and she definitely has a crush on him, and like he just does not see that because he's so focused on the past. He has 9 volumes. Tokyo Pop put this out. Obviously, it means it's out of print. Fun fact, though, when I got back from the store with the last volume, I found out Tokyo Pop was going under the first time. So hopefully someone can license rescue this, because it does get better as the series goes on.
All right. Kobacha's Adventure. So previously we had done, there's a lot of cat related titles in here. We had done a cat themed panel. So I picked some of the best cat ones that we did. This is from Daisuke Iragashi. He's also the creator of Children of the Sea. So if you've read that, this has a very similar feel in some ways, but this is a lot cuter of a title. This is just the daily adventures of a countryside cat. A laid-back title that's meant to sit you back and be engulfed in the world of the Japanese countryside. Many of the pages are beautiful watercolors, but even the black and white pages give rich detail that make you feel that you're really like there in the countryside. Again, this is mostly just like, it's a simple 1-volume title that's just like, I feel like this is probably an author insert title. It's never directly stated, but about the author spending time doing his work in the countryside and like having this indoor outdoor cat. But you can definitely tell that the art is directly pulled from being in the countryside at some point. There's just such great detail in this art. And you just, these cute adventures of this cat and, living out in the country. So again, I'm kind of surprised that this is a title like, again, it's out there, but I'm kind of surprised with all the cat manga and cat titles that have been getting hit up that this one hasn't been licensed.
There's so many good ones that haven't gotten hit up either.
Yeah, hopefully it does, because like this is a really cute, nice title with absolutely gorgeous art again. Kind of a meditative state of a manga almost, though.
Okay, so Sorry for My Familiar. God, I wasn't sure what to think about this based on the cover, but this is in the demon realm, and everyone has a familiar except for poor little Patty, the cute little girl with the horns there. But she ends up getting a familiar with this human guy named Norman, who is absolutely obsessed with demon kind and the demon world and really wants to study everything and everything in it. She's also trying to find her deadbeat father who ran off and left her with a bunch of debt. So I guess this could technically be isekais. Norman's a human, and like he doesn't die, but he is in the world, of course. But really, they barely mention this. There's only a few other human characters in the world. But Norman is just fantastic, and Patty is. It's like I know that he's her familiar somehow, and everyone underestimates him because he's a human. But he's so desperate to know things that he will more than easily barehanded rip apart an enemy and go, God, I really want to see more about this demon. I should probably just tear them apart and accidentally destroy them. And Patty's just like, oh God, I don't know how to stop him. But yeah, the comedy is pretty naturally flowing, and it's just because of the characters and the situation that they're in. It's great 'cause he'll completely blow over characters who should be like 10 times stronger than him, and no one will have any idea why. Because I guess they know about humans and they're typically weak, and then you have Norman, who's just way, way too into this.
Yeah, that looks really cute.
Yeah, Seven Seas puts that out. I think they made a mistake on volume 6 because there's no character image on the spine.
Well,
Yeah, it happens, but yeah, it's so much fun. I think 7 volumes are out now.
Okay. All right. So another cat related title. Neko Jubi Otogi's from Maro Nago. This is another J manga title. This is a title I try to proselytize whenever I can. I really like this title. Unfortunately, only the like 5-ish volumes that J manga put out, the only ones you could find in English. You can find them out there. There's at least 22 volumes of this series, though. I would desperately love to see more of this title. I absolutely love it. If you like cats, and you like Edo period stuff, this is like a great combo of things. Jubei is an Edo period artist who specializes in rat repelling portraits of cats. He peddles his trade with his companion, a talking cat demon named Nita, who's able to breathe life into his drawings. Together, they meet many cats and people in various interesting situations, including a samurai who's terrified of cats, a Nikometa festival, and ghost cats. So there's like every chapter is its own story. Generally, there might be a couple of chapters where it's a story arc, and occasionally, like the samurai who's afraid of cats eventually adopts a kitten and has to get over his fear of cats. So that's a reoccurring character. But this is a really cute manga with some really great art and a lot of fun. Like if you like the historical setting, if you like yokai, if you like cats, like this got everything. And sadly, it just kind of out drifting in the sea of the internet. Hopefully someday we'll get the rest of it. And so again, here we got another one. My Roommate is a Cat. Story by Tanami Minatuki and art by Az Fatasuya, if I'm saying that right. The actual translation of this title is My housemate is sometimes on my lap, sometimes on my head. I'm guessing when the anime came out in 2019, My Roommate was a Cat was an easier title to go by. Miyazuki Subaru is a mystery writer who lives alone in a large house and keeps to himself. He doesn't like dealing with anyone, even his agent, who's trying just to be helpful. But after the tragic death of his parents, he's seemingly slowly slipping away from all human contact. When he finds a stray cat and takes her home, things slowly start to change for Subaru. Will his little adopted cat, Haru, change his life for the better? The answer is yes. Yes, she will. So there is an anime for this that should be up on Crunchyroll. It only covers part of the manga. As far as I can tell, the manga isn't licensed, but there is a webcomic version, which is in color, which is licensed on an app called Webcomics App. So you could find it there. I definitely recommend it. This is a cute and sweet title. And again, if you're a cat lover, you'll love it. But this is a great title about, interacting with other people. And some of the chapters are from Subaru's perspective, and some of the chapters are from Haru's perspective, which is kind of cute, but doesn't because sometimes you get a manga that is just from the cat's perspective, and sometimes that's kind of obnoxious. So it's kind of nice to have a little bit of both.
Okay, so From Far Away, this is actually the one isekai, because I'm not really counting so far from how familiar as an isekai. But this is actually a late 90s isekai, so this was before the boom kind of made everything into a power fantasy. So Noriko, she's kind of isekai'd away. I think she's in the real world for all of 3 pages. And she has no clue why she's there or how she got there. And she literally can't even speak the language. Speaking of cats, mine is being evil right now. However, she is quickly noted that she is supposed to be the one who summons the sky demon who will entirely wreck the world completely. So a lot of people are out to kill her. Unlike a lot of power fantasies, she has literally no power. She's immediately rescued by this hot guy, Izark, who you can't tell at first, does he want to kill her or does he not? I feel like it's fairly obvious that they're going to be a couple, though, so I don't think I'm really spoiling everything. She also doesn't get kidnapped every 5 seconds. On the rare occasion she actually tries to get herself out of it instead of just waiting. But really, Noriko just has a really positive attitude, does what she can, learns the language as soon as she can, and and wants to go fight against the prophecy. So with all the isekai, with all the god-awful isekai, I hate to say it, getting adaptations, it's a shame that you have this older isekai that's now out of print, although I think you can get it digital from Viz. And everyone's just like, no, we're just gonna ignore the 90s isekai and just go with generic coon hit by truck coon. Yeah, if you want to know what, like, how good isekai can be, like, you owe it to yourself to read this, because there's not a whole lot of shoujo isekai these days anyway.
Very true. I also would say recommend 12 Kingdoms too.
Oh yeah.
All right, so back on that cat track, we got the wholesome cat. We got this title, A Man and His Cat from Sakurai. This is super wholesome, about an elderly gentleman and an adorably ugly cat. Can this lonely cat help this lonely widower? Will Fukumaro bring big joy to his everyday life? The answer is probably yes. Yes. So yeah, this is about an elderly gentleman picking up a cat and learning how to take care of a cat and, you know, becoming friends with a cat. And, you know, it's just adorable and wholesome, and you should read it. I think Viz has been publishing this.
The Square Enix manga.
Yes, but I think in English.
No, in English it's Square Enix.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's absolutely adorable, and you should pick it up. And Fukumaro is absolutely adorable, even if he's supposed to be an ugly cat. Yeah.
Such thing as an ugly cat.
Yeah, he's adorable. Also, it teaches you that cats are very expensive in Japan.
So, Cherry Magic, the automatic winner for the worst manga title I've seen in quite some time. Like, yeah, this is BL, but I haven't seen anything explicit yet. So the main story is that, you know, we have our main lead. He's an office worker, and he's a virgin at 30, and he suddenly finds that if he touches someone or someone touches him, that he can read their mind. He also quickly discovers that the token hot guy in the office that all the girls fawn over about has a thing for him. Yeah, I did not have high hopes for this title based on the title alone, but as you can tell, it's here and it's actually really good. It's basically just this awkward guy and his office senpai, and every time he thinks, you know, he's a pretty good guy, I wonder if I could see myself dating him, he accidentally brushes him, and the office guy is thinking the most horrendously dirty thoughts about him, and then our main character kind of like, I'm gonna back away a little. The nice thing is that his friend is an author. His friend who is an author, there's some smaller chapters about him, because like the main guy mentioned it to him, and then he suddenly finds that he gets a crush on this delivery boy because the delivery boy likes his cat. Very relatable, obviously. And his friend also can kind of read minds now. Square Enix again is publishing this one. I think 2, almost 3 volumes are out now. The third one's probably coming out soon. Yeah, meanwhile, everyone else in the office guy's life is like, why can't this guy get away from hot guy senpai kun here so we can have him? And the poor office worker's like, oh my god, I don't know what is going on with my life now, but things are awkward.
Yeah, that sounds very awkward. It sounds like a lot of fun to read too.
It is.
All right, down to our last title, and it's an extra special one for you all.
It kind of breaks all the rules.
Yes, this one is so bad, it's good. And you've probably never heard of it. It's hard to find.
It's not on my anime list.
Para Para.
Para Para. Did we explain what Para Para is first?
Well, first I'm going to explain that I bought this at a book off for $1. That's how I bought this. I was out visiting a friend in California, and I was like, I'll just buy all this crap for $1. Why not? And I brought it home, and then I read it, and it was magic. So Para Para, first, since apparently I am now so old, I know what Para Para is, but other people do not, was a dance craze in Japan, which is sort of like line dancing, where there are already predefined dance moves, but it's generally more done with the hands than with the feet. And to go along with this, there were para arcade machines that you could use to dance the para. This is important to go along with this manga.
Yeah, the para dance arcades are a little more like DDR, if that helps.
Yes. Though you're kind of like swiping your hands around.
Yeah.
Yes. So this was a big dance craze in Japan for many years, that after about 2010, it kind of completely died off. Even by then, it was kind of dead.
Yeah, this was made in 2001, though.
Yeah.
This is actually a Hong Kong series, so it's not a manga.
So yeah, this is a manhwa, which are Chinese comics. This one particularly is from Hong Kong, which Hong Kong kind of has its own comic scene on its own. Has its own art style here. This is pretty typical of that art style. The author here, Andy Seto, is actually a pretty popular artist. He did a comic, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and King of Fighters. I'm going to guess Para isn't one of his better works, because this is so not good.
Comics One brought it over. Yeah, so this is only 1 volume long, and it's great because it's way too serious. It has way too many plots that it wants to shove in there. It's like if like Lifetime tried to make a super serious drama about line dancing, and it had 2 hours worth of content, but they shoved it into half an hour.
Yes. Yeah. So I would say what makes this one so bad, it's good. Way overly dramatic about stupid crap that it's super serious about. Art that's half decent, weirdly stiff, and faces that look just off. And lines like, "You hit me. You never hit me before. I hate you."
Yes,
So yeah.
high schooler Yuki. She's good at sports. Like I'm flipping through the book as well.
Yeah, so she's supposed to be very athletic and good at sports, but she's also
Bit of a bitch.
yes.
Should we say that?
Nobody in this manga is a nice person. Everybody here is terrible.
Yes. So Yuki, she goes to this club for whatever reason, and she ends up. Oh my god! So first she sees this guy, and he's like, "You remind me of my former fiance or something," and she's a little creeped out, obviously. Then she ends up going to a club, and she's fiddling around on the DDR arcade machine, or the para arcade machine, I should say. And then this girl just kind of comes up to her who's mean, and her name is Vodka. Yeah, they have a dance off on the DDR machine.
Well, the para machine.
Yeah. This catches the attention of Dennis, who is the guy who ran into Yuki earlier and said, "You look like my dead fiance." Dennis is the god of para. No one is better than Dennis. No one.
Dennis is also some former gangster who happens to be the god of para.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
And he unlocks the super secret little rabbit character on the para machine right in the middle there.
Yes, that's amazing.
Yes.
So yeah, it's constantly this just absolutely bonkers crap. So yeah, at this club, Yuki runs into Vodka. Vodka takes para really serious, and after hearing Yuki trash talk, it challenges this dance off. But of course, it turns out Yuki's a natural para pro, so Vodka has to keep upping the difficulty to the point where the arrows on the arcade machine disappear. In the end, Yuki can't beat Vodka, which leads to this creepy scene where where a guy's friend named Fatty, yes, this character called Fatty through the whole book, goes from a chill dude to super creeper because he was offered a date with whoever the loser of the said contest was. Aren't these people super nice?
Yes.
Which of course then Dennis comes in last minute, saves Yuki from Fatty, and challenges Vodka to a single round dance off where he unlocks the super unknown character. The dude is so good that it gets a crowd to follow him while he dances, which gets the amazing line from Yuki: "He became their spiritual leader. At this moment, he's become a god."
Then lights up a cigarette after his hard workout, like one does.
Yes. And yeah, this goes on like this for the
We're-
entire book. Like,
we're only like halfway through the book. We didn't get to the gunshots and the terminal illness.
yeah, this is definitely ridiculous. I don't even know where you would find this. You can
can
find
find
it
it used
floating around online
You'll have to
places,
find a physical copy, unfortunately.
but it's definitely worth finding because it's just absolutely bananas. So that was our hidden gems of manga panel for 2021 for Zenkai 2021. This is Brand and CJ. Again, I hope you had a great time, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask us. We are on Twitter and we are on our My Anime List Club. I hope you guys have a great weekend.
Okay.